All right, welcome back here on the North Florida Blitz here. Josh Wilson, Marty Pallman here, and our interview this week in the interview section is Noah Schlicksup from Schlick Sports. And Noah, we're glad to have you on here, and appreciate you joining us here. And Noah, I met you a couple years ago for the first time. I believe it was the Bartram Trail Creekside game. It's always a big game there, but saw you again just a couple weeks ago here at Gainesville when Creekside Buchholz. I mean, that was a good game in the first half, but not so much the second half, unfortunately. But Noah, I got to give props to Noah. Noah is only 16, broadcasting, and
wow, 16.
Yes, he's only 16. But
I look young, but man, oh man.
But I love what Noah's doing.
I tell you, when I was 16, I was not doing what he's doing. I wish I had been. But no.
So Noah, gotta just give us a background about yourself, and how did you get into this? What made your passion here big for getting into broadcasting?
Well, I started getting into broadcasting when I was 12 years old. I lived up in Iowa at the time and wanted to start broadcasting high school basketball. So I went up to the athletic director at my local high school in North Scott and covered them for that season. Really got hooked. And when I came back down here to Florida, I actually flew back up for the state championships there, covered that, and then got down here, Creekside, right by where I live, and reached out to the athletic director, Luke Maribel, and he gave me the green light, and it's just kind of gotten going ever since.
Yeah, Luke Maribel was basically the baseball coach there at Creekside, right? Now he's the
yes,
AD.
he was.
And think about Creekside too is it's the school hasn't been around very long. But it's really got a good athletic program. How did you end up in Florida? That's just coming from Iowa. You decided, you wanted to try something different.
Yeah, that was on my parents. My dad got a chance to move jobs down here, and
yeah,
the warmer weather's nice, even though I'm wearing a sweatshirt in here tonight.
And I see your Cubs plate behind you, and I'm watching them right now, trying to hold on against the Braves. It's not going very well, but it was 6 to now it's 6-5 now. But anyway, I'm a Cubs fan too. I'm sorry, but I thought I would commiserate with you a little bit. But let's talk about last week's game against Mandarin. Boy, quite a win. I know Creekside, the schedule this year has been pretty brutal, but they started 1-3, and Mandarin coming in and really been rolling teams. They beat Bowles. They beat Riverside, some good Jacksonville teams, and Creekside was able to pull that out, get a 1-point win late in a really exciting game.
Yeah, that was quite the game for Creekside. That had been one that was really going to test them, and really they had to execute. That was their main theme going into the week. They had to execute. They felt the effort was there, that they had the right game plan. They just had to execute better, and that's what they did. All the things that they struggled with in those games against Buchholz in that second half and Richmond Hill, Palm Beach Central, they came out and they fixed them. They had a really great game plan, locking down on Jamie French, who, as you guys know, is one of the best wide receivers in the country and probably one of, if not the best in the state. They were able to really limit him in that game. And offensively, I mean, it wasn't a flashy game. They only passed the ball 9 times, but they stuck to their gut, their game plan. They kept the ball on the ground and got enough points to come out with a really exciting passing touchdown at the end and a victory in front of their home fans.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I talk about the end of the game, because I think that's where the big thing happened, for y'all in terms of winning that game. I mean, what was the atmosphere like there, at Creekside, for this game? Because I know, St. Johns County football alone, it seems like every school in St. Johns County has a big electrifying atmosphere with their team sports.
Oh, that was as loud as I've heard it in probably my entire time at Creekside. This is my 4th season. That last play, the passing touchdown to Arrows Toffer, that was as loud as I've heard it. And that entire drive, cinematic. Mandarin was going for it on 4th down. The defense got the ball back, and with 4 minutes to go, the offense drives down the field before that final play inside the 10-yard line. They had to convert on a 4th down a few plays before that. The chains had to come out. They got it by an inch, and the entire place just breathed a sigh of relief on one side, and on the other, quite the opposite. Creekside able on 4th and 3 to get that touchdown, and that was a celebration after that night. It was quite the experience.
I mean, absolutely, and that's the thing. And then, of course, I mean, just looking at Creekside, what did Coach McIntyre have to say after that game? Because I know that for them, especially the fact that you just came out, you just came off a 49-20 loss to Buchholz the week before in district play. It's like, it's like, hey, we actually have something momentum to carry into the district game against Oakleaf, who just played a very tough Bulls team, by the way, who is the team that Mandarin has beaten already this season. So there's a common thread here when we talking about in terms of the scheduling here.
Yeah, Coach Mack was just really proud of the way his team executed. He said after the game that he was proud of the game plan they put together and how they executed it. I felt like just going down there after the game on the field, there's just kind of a sense of relief, and you could feel they had lost a little bit of confidence going to that week from those previous games. Obviously, really tough opponents, but getting a win against a good Mandarin team really boosted that team and could give them a great boost going into this really tough end of the schedule. And they need quite a few wins here after a 1-3 start.
It gets even tougher because it's already been tough. Like you said, Palm Beach Central. You went to Brunswick, played in that game there, and then Buchholz. There's nothing wrong with losing to Buchholz. That's a really good team. But So what's coming up? You said the schedule is even tougher coming up for them.
I wouldn't say. It really just depends. It's a really tough schedule all the way. They got Oakleaf homecoming this week, and as you guys know, Oakleaf, they're revamped. They got a great coach in Chris Foy, who's doing a fantastic job over there. They get the bye week, and then Bartram Trail at Bartram. That's never a game you want to miss. Creekside
big rivalry.
Yeah, they've only come out with a win once there, and that's going to be an exciting game. Creekside's going to need that one, especially going into the playoffs. And then Ponte Vedra, Fleming Island, Atlantic Coast, really teams that have gotten even better this year. And it should be a really exciting stretch of games at Creekside. I'm looking forward to calling.
No, absolutely.
So we got a question. We're going to take a viewer question here, Noah, if you don't mind, from Christopher Like.
Christopher Like, and Christopher Like is a good friend of mine, long time of a friend of mine who had the website TexasHSFootball.com for years. Right. So that's my inspiration for FloatHSFootball.com. Here, almost 15 years later, and Noah, he's got the question for you. Who are your influences in broadcasting?
Len Casper from the Star was the guy I listened to, the Cubs play-by-play man for many years, and I always wanted to be like him. I got the opportunity to talk with him over quarantine, still sometimes message with him to this day. He's my biggest influence, but I got plenty of others. I love listening to Gus Johnson, and of course you got Kevin Harlan, Jim Nance. I love listening to Boog Shambi now at the Cubs. Frank Frangie with the Jaguars I've gotten to meet recently.
Oh, yes, Frank Frangie.
Love looking up to what he does and learning from him, so I got quite a few, too many to name, but I kind of take a look at what everybody does, and I try to, model what I do after it to some capacity and learn what I can. But I love listening to Len Casper. That was the voice of my childhood.
Now I think he's with the White Sox, but he was with the Cubs a long time. And I'm sorry, I just went I went ooh, because it looked like the third out was happening, and in typical Cubs style, the fly ball was dropped with 2 outs. The Braves now are up 7-6.
The oops ball.
That's why I just all of a sudden in the middle, I went, whoa, because I thought the inning was over. I couldn't believe it, but that's a Cubs thing. But anyway. Yeah, I'm with you. No, I like pretty much all those guys. I like listening to Boog as well, and he's been around. He used to work for the Marlins, the Rays. Dwayne Stats, we've had him for a long time here in Florida with the Rays. But I think it's a lot of the baseball guys. I'm with you. Do you do other Creekside sports? Like you do baseball, basketball, like other sports for them as well?
Yeah, and you are devastating me with these Cubs updates. I went up; it was 6-0.
I know it's happening live too. I can't help it.
We're trying to keep a happy mood here, but
I know. I shouldn't be watching this game probably right now, but it's stressing me out. But anyway.
Yeah, I do basketball. Started doing a little soccer last year for Creekside, and I love calling baseball as well. I do it every spring. I love baseball and football, and then in the winter I love basketball. That's how I got my start, and I added soccer here when I got down here.
All right. Well,
no, that's absolutely fun, and I got to give a shameless plug. No, if you ever can try to get an internship at 1010XL when you get up into the college ranks, because that's where I did an internship years ago when I was at Flagler College. That's also where Marty over there at 1010XL doing Bishop Kenny games. So I mean, it's all full circle these days with all the different connections and stuff.
But. Yeah, I mean, I've had a chance to go over there to Bartram and Creekside. You got some really good schools in St. Johns County. A lot. just a lot of good rivalries too. Just almost everyone is really good in that county. It's tough to win there.
And actually, let me ask Noah this, since in the last few years, I mean, two more schools have opened up there in St. Johns County, especially with Coy Creek and then Beachside. I mean, it just seems like more rivalries are going to be built here in the next few years, especially as once everybody else starts getting like Beachside on the schedule, especially and most likely that Beachside is up in the same district with Bartram Trail. That whole northern St. Johns County will eventually end up together. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I love seeing the new rivalries built. Obviously at Creekside every week. I can't wait to go watch Bartram IMG on Creekside's bye week. But I've heard about this stuff where Tecoy Creek and Beachside, they're building a really big rivalry. I know people who
Mm-hmm.
were at that game, and they said that atmosphere was wild. I love to see the rivalries taking place. A lot of kids who know each other, who've played together, and that's the best thing apart. That's the best part about all of this is that it's kids who have grown up playing football together. Now they're on opposite sides of the football field, and for an entire football game, they're enemies, but afterwards, they're old friends making up again.
No, absolutely. And Noah, tell everybody where they can find you at and follow you at here on, especially like on Friday nights. And then, of course, outside of football season with the other sports seasons, of course, like basketball, baseball, those sports.
Everything I do now is on my YouTube channel, Schlick Sports. We got it on the screen right here. Appreciate that. So I'm calling every football game for Creekside audio only on there. And I also do interviews. I do a game day show for Creekside. I got a really fun interview this week with Jaguars Shaq Quarterman and Darius Williams, who from each side,
Ooh,
Creekside
fun.
and Oakleaf, now on the
Yeah.
Jags. So do a lot of fun stuff on there, and all my Creekside coverage is on there as well.
No, absolutely. Appreciate it, Noah. And Marty, got anything else to add?
No, I appreciate it. No, it was good talking to you. I enjoyed it.
No, Noah,
Thank
I
you, guys.
appreciate it. And we'll be following. And of course, again, follow Noah there at Schlick Sports again on YouTube. And then, of course, he's also Schlick Sports, I believe, at Schlick Sports on Twitter, too. So that's where you can also find him on the social media platforms as well. So, Noah, appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me on. I had a blast.
No,
Thank
appreciate
So,
it. No, thank you so much. That was Noah Schlicksup there, and of course, it's it's just been a lot of fun here. And Marty,
you know what? You told me we were going to interview him. I had no idea he was 16. That's the first time I've talked to the guy. I mean, that's something. And you know what? When he said he's been wanting to do that since he was 12, I kind of wanted to be a broadcaster since I was probably 9, 10 years old. I remember when I was watching a lot of sports, and I think it's cool to listen to somebody who has had that love of that from really right away. So, and like I said, Creekside, that's a good place to be. I mean, they really are. The Cubs, the dude literally lost a fly ball in the lights with 2 outs. I mean, the Cubs are up 6-0. They're down 7-6. They're trying to make the playoffs. But anyway, I know I was watching that live. I literally gasped because I thought he was going to catch it. But
the beauty of live streaming.
I know, but anyway, yeah, that's just pretty cool to hear. And I was just talking to Mike Rideout about it. Mike met him as well. He said the same thing. He's like, yeah, he's been doing it since he was 12. So that's cool to get that opportunity. I like to hear from people, from broadcasters who get into it and really enjoy it, because I do too. As much as that sometimes it annoys me, I still enjoy it.
I'm glad to see like guys like Noah who's up and coming here and building his brand and building what he's doing. It makes me excited for the future, considering that we lost over the years. We have lost radio stations, we have lost TV stations that used to broadcast high school football games, and now they're few and far in between, because it's just it's either there's no one there for it, or it's just that people have moved on. But it's good to see Noah doing that for Creekside, and I'm glad that that he's building that, what he's doing there with Creekside, and it's fun that they get that coverage there. And of course they get the teams that Creekside goes up against, they get to see that and hear what Noah does. So definitely appreciate that. And Marty,